Hi everyone, Jeremy from thecustomgeek.com here, and I have a standard controller to a Husban H501SS quadcopter. And you can see this is the standard one, and there's no external antennas, but it kind of wants to have external antennas. You can see the punch outs here. So there's a kit available from banggood.com, and I got that kit here, and it extends the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5.8 gigahertz range for the video and then controlling of the actual unit. So we're going to go ahead and take this apart and put it in. It's a pretty simple process. I've seen it done on YouTube before, but I'm going to try to do it, I guess, for ha-has, maybe a little bit clearer to some people. There were some questions. Here's the kit broken down. You have the SMA to IPEX connectors here. So you have these guys go on the circuit board with these tiny little connectors, and you have the attachments that go through the body of the top of the controller, and then it has the lock nuts and the washers and the nuts for them. And then this is the 2.4 gigahertz antenna, and that folds down and rotates. And then this is the 5.8 gigahertz antenna. Now this antenna here, it looks kind of stiff, and you can kind of turn it and twist it because this is directional. It needs to be pointed at the quad itself when it's flying, and you can get the best reception. Just real quick, 1/4 inch drill bit is the size that you need for this particular kit. Disclaimer: if you get a kit, take your drill bit and figure out what size that you actually need. I know it's not a very good shot, but do that for yourself. And then a #1 screwdriver, a #1 Phillips takes this guy apart. So let's get this thing apart. Time to speed up. All right, so now we have the controller. We're gonna go ahead and pop the cover off back here. Put the battery cover over here, and then inside here, this is the 5.8 gigahertz antenna, and then the 2.4 gigahertz antenna is up in here. It's kind of that wire right there. It's not very good at all. Let's see if I can shoot it this way here. That little wire right there, it's kind of hot glued in there, and then this is the 5.8 gigahertz antenna. So these antennas, you can see this wire goes over here and it goes down to this little SMA connector right here. It's called an SMA connector. These connectors come off, there's hot glue in here. These connectors come off by applying force upward. If you can, get a screwdriver or a small pair of tweezers and see if you can get kind of on both sides of them, or at least close to them, but try not to get the wire and yank it because you might damage the wire in the connector that way. And you don't really want to pull these off at a sharp angle to get them off. You kind of pop these things up, and you can see right here, I'll try to get a close shot of this here. That's what the connector looks like. And so when you have these connectors here, they simply snap on there. They're not threaded, they don't solder or anything like that. They just push on there with pressure. And then the other one. And then we'll go ahead and get these guys out, respectively. It's a good day to do this because it is pouring down rain outside. And so today is not a good flying day. There's some hot glue in over here too. See, also too, again, tempting. I don't think I'm ever going to use this one again, but I don't want to destroy the antenna. That's what the antenna looks like. That's that 2.4 gigahertz antenna. What I was saying before is take the pliers and pop the glue off, or tweezers, and so that way you're not damaging the actual wire itself. And this antenna is just kind of hot glued in there. So we're gonna see if we can get that off a little bit there. Get it a little bit loose, and then we'll just take this and then pull this antenna right off. This is not a bad antenna. I can get I've gotten up to 360 meters before video just totally flakes out. Line of sight, but it's not the best either. I've seen a lot better, and of course I'll let you know the results of the new antenna when we get it all installed. So there's that. Now let's put some holes in here for the new antenna. quick note, when you're doing this, when you have these adapters here, kind of think through where these things are going to go. There's some plastic on the inside here. I don't know if you can see that very well. I've got my lights in front of me here. So your cutout is here on the top. And so ideally that's where you want the antenna to go. And then behind here you have some plastic areas that, so make sure you drill in the center of this piece of plastic and that piece of plastic. Let me do this. Make sure you drill in between those two plastic extrusions, and so that way you have a clear shot and you're not in the middle of this brace and it doesn't get messy with the lock nuts and washers going on the back of them. And the same thing on this side, it has that same cutout. So we'll measure and then we'll go ahead and drill those holes. Sometimes you got to measure with your eyes. It's okay if you get this lined up on the outside. I'll mark that one. And that'll mark that one. I'm going to get my other drill index to get an actual sharp drill bit. This one's kind of pretty much had it. All right. I have no idea if that was even on camera. All right, so now we have our holes. So you guessed it, we take these guys from the inside. There is not a difference between the two in this kit, between the 2.4 and the 5.8 gigahertz adapters. They're both exactly the same. So it doesn't matter which one goes where. So I'm going to take these and put them inside here. You're going to have to tweak that just a little bit to get it in there. Kind of like that. It's a little bit squishy. The problem is these things come back too far, so you got to just bend those up just a little bit. You don't want to bend them too sharp or too much. And then they should come here. Actually, we need to check our holes first. Beautiful. And that'll work too. You know what I might do is I might remove this plastic tab right here. Oh no, I don't have to. There it goes. And so that is right up against that plastic tab. And so now, of course, let's put a lock washer on it. This actually goes on the inside, but I'm not going to use it because of those plastic tabs that are holding it. So let's put a lock washer. See if we have enough room for both of these and the little nut that goes on out on the outside. So 0, I'll tighten those down a little bit. And then we're going to test this, and I do not think I'm going to run the lock washer on there because I'm not sure that's... You have to be careful, not just the antenna is secured on there, but you have to make sure that the contact on the center of the antenna on the coax is touching the contact there, so you get good connectivity between the antenna and the antenna connector. So I'm probably going to take this lock washer out. Now I have a lot more to grab onto. Yes. And some of you are probably freaking out right now because this is not the antenna that goes on the side, it's the other one. But it has pretty much the same connector. So that part's done. Now we need to take this and carefully kind of bend these around. You don't want any tight turns, any tight radiuses with these cables. And so if you come around here and then put it on the top of the connector here, you can go ahead and just slide it on there. I'm trying to turn this at the same time. Like that, and then get over the connector and then snap it down. I should zoom this in a little bit. And you can just go, and you'll feel it kind of snap on there. There it goes. Alright, so no sudden turns, good and loose, and then we'll do the same with the other side. I'm going to speed this up because it's kind of boring. Alright, so now we have our two connectors here. We're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to come around, and we're going to loop around so there's no sharp turns, and then I'm going to zoom back in. And then right on top of this little tiny SMA connector, you want to get it centered over there. And then once it's on there, you just kind of push down on it with your finger. You can support the circuit board. This is kind of a module, so it's kind of, you can see there's a little bit of flex in that, and you don't want to push down that too hard. So kind of put your finger under here when you're pushing down. So you don't want to put too much tension between this little module and then this PCB here. That won't be a good thing. All right, so now we're all hooked up. And everything's good. I'm going to grab a pair of pliers and tighten these guys up. And then we'll put it back together and maybe go outside. It's raining pretty good earlier today. It's kind of stopped now, so I'll go outside and see if I can take it for a test flight. I know I should be using the right size wrench. Alright, so now everything is tight. Got everything squared away. Everything looks good. And we're going to go ahead and put this back together. So very simply, just put this back together. Put the back on, and then put the 4 screws on, and then we'll be good to go. Gotta get that one screw that dropped on the floor earlier. Alright, now when you plug your antennas in, remember that this side was your Yagi antenna for the 5.8 gigahertz. So flip that around this way, and now it's on this side. So 5.8 goes over here, and hook that up. And then the 2.4 goes on this side, of course. And all is well in the land of goodness. So we're going to go outside. I'm going to power this thing up, make sure my screen's still good. It is good. My X4 is off, so obviously I have no video or telemetry data from that. And now let's go see if it works. Alright, we're outside now. This is it's going to be a hard video to show, but here's the screen here. As you can see that the FPV camera is working and the video feed is going through with the new antennas. Got the new setup here. And so, I'll get it up in the air and then we'll hold it with GPS and I'll take a shot and see how far I can go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are at 650 meters. About 650 meters, and we're just, I saw it break up. It's not breaking up now though, but that is phenomenal for how far that is going. And I'm still getting good video. So I thought I felt a raindrop, and so I'm gonna go ahead and fly this bird home, and we'll try to go further on a nicer day. But right now, I think it's gonna rain, so she needs to come home.